Before we dive into the world of Westeros, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to stay up to date on the latest movie news and reviews, which is the language of these premium movies. As a cinephile who has spent countless hours immersed in the rich tapestry of Westeros, I'm excited to share with you the latest news about A Night of Seven Kingdoms. This upcoming series promises to offer a different perspective on World of Ice and Fire, one that is smaller in scale, but potentially more intimate and character-driven. George R.R. Martin, the creator of the critically acclaimed A Song of Ice and Fire book series, has outlined how his upcoming book-based series will stand apart from, previous Game of Thrones adaptations. In a recent blog post, Martin shared his vision for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which will operate on a significantly smaller budget compared to its predecessors. Unlike Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, which featured elaborate sets and grandiose scale, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms will focus primarily on outdoor scenes with tents. However, Martin emphasized that this change should not diminish the high quality production values that have become synonymous with the Game of Thrones franchise. In simpler terms, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is a more modest production compared to Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, with a significantly reduced budget. However, Martin has high hopes for its quality, stating that the majority of the narrative takes place in an open field adorned with tents, which means they can do those without the grand sets seen in other productions.
But it needs to look authentic rather than cheap.
The story in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms occurs approximately 90 years prior to the events depicted in A Song of Ice and Fire. Martin clarifies that this narrative will be more intimate, humorous, and character-driven compared to the grandiose scale of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. Instead, it will feature both humor and peril, to two who feature in humor. Instead, and in essence, by crafting A Night of the Seven Kingdoms as a more standalone tale, it's logical that its production costs would be less than other Game of Thrones on where they were used by getting separate files and edit. This approach also gives HBO a clearer picture of audience interest in spin-offs that don't heavily rely on the grandeur displayed by House of the Dragon in its first two seasons, but rather on compelling characters instead. As a devoted movie enthusiast, I'm excited by the novel concept of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Unlike its predecessors, this series seems to offer a unique narrative that hasn't been presented in previous shows. Known for grand wars, political machinations, and the detailed exploration of Westeros's diverse kingdoms, I believe this new show could serve as a refreshing change of pace. The best parts about the Game of Thrones franchise are its characters, who are so well concocted and developed by Martin that for him to say A Night of Seven Kingdoms will be more character-focused is exciting, as it promises the introduction of new characters who will most likely be just as well developed, if not more so, the characters fans have come to love. And on a lighter note, I guess you could say that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is the dragon-free version of Game of Thrones. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.